It is time for my first ever TBR jar video. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video because it is my first ever TBR jar video. I absolutely love watching monthly TBR jar videos. I just love seeing what books people have to fit certain prompts, and so I knew I really wanted to make one. I finally got around to coming up with some prompts. I'm really excited, and I also included some funny GPT prompts. Now, first things first, if I'm looking a little tired, it's because I am. But really, it's because it seems like every single mascara in my house has grown legs and walked away. So I'm just embracing being fresh-faced until I can go to the store. I also just got out of the shower and quickly blow dried my hair, and I feel like it never stays very well when I do that. So we'll see what condition it's gonna be at in the end of this video. One thing I'm really excited to add to my TBR jar that will kick in next month, I'm currently in the process of making little miniature versions of all of the books on my TBR shelf. I think it will be really fun to add some prompts in my TBR jar to blindly pick from this, but also maybe, or I might just have my last book be chosen blind out of this. Let me know what you think is a better idea in the comments below. But they are seriously turning out so cute, so I'm really excited to see it all together. This jar was originally gonna hold my TBR jar prompts, but it's kind of small for the amount of prompts that I printed out, so I really need to go and find another better, bigger TBR jar. But for now, we're using one from my pantry. It's a little bit ghetto, but it's all right. We love her. So last month we picked 8 books, and I have read well over 8 books in this past month. So I feel pretty confident that we can pick another 8 books, even though summer is definitely gonna be a little bit busier for me. Since I went well over that last month, I feel like we'll do pretty good. I think I forgot to say what month we're picking for. Today we are picking for my June TBR, which I'm so excited about because summer is one of my favorite times to be a reader. I just think it's so fun to read all the summery books. So without further ado, let's get picking. This previously held chocolate, and even though it's been through the dishwasher, it still smells really good. Okay, so our first prompt is a book with found family. This one's kind of a tricky topic though, because sometimes the books that have found family don't necessarily say that on the back of the book. But let's see what we can find. This rotating bookshelf behind me is my TBR shelf, so I'm just gonna go take a few books off of it and we'll kind of see where we go from there. Okay, so I was able to find a few books on the shelf that go with this prompt. The first one that came to mind as soon as I saw it is The Hobbit, which I know this is a classic and probably not what you guys were expecting. But if you know the story of The Hobbit, which I've seen the movies, and I recently got an illustrated copy of this book because I've always wanted to read it, this story has a huge found family aspect to it. I mean, Gandalf, is it Gandalf? Is that how you say it? Gandalf? I'm gonna say this the wrong way and people are gonna come for me. Anyways, the wizard, the dwarves, and obviously Bilbo form a ragtag group of friends, found family if you will, to go on this journey to help the dwarves reclaim the mountain. Probably not what I would generally lean to for a summer read. After some digging, also I have the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. No, you're not washing dishes right now. Excuse me. I've had for a few weeks but have not read yet. It's about a single dad who's also a chef, and he moves to this small town to open this pancake house. The town that he moves to, it's called Dream Harbor. It says Dream Harbor needs a new chef and Archer needs a community to help raise his daughter. So sounds like what he's looking for is a found family. This would absolutely fit the bill. I do enjoy some quick reads in the summer, and I feel like this is one that I could fly through, so that's a really good option. The last option that I don't have physically yet, but I ordered it a while ago from the UK, and it's supposed to be coming this week before June starts, is the first book in the Magnolia Park series. Popped into my head while I was searching, so I checked with Google, and Google's AI says, yes, Magnolia Parks and its series are considered a found family book. The characters in the story form a close-knit group of friends who provide support and love to each other, often in ways that are more meaningful than their own blood families. So that is also an option. I also just finished my first book by Jessa Hastings this last month, which was The Conditions of Will, and I absolutely loved it, which makes me really, really excited to start the Magnolia Park series. Probably between that and the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. For The Conditions of Will, I do find myself leaning towards Magnolia Park. However, I feel like the summary on the back of this book just screams found family, so I'm gonna go with the Strawberry Patch Pancake House as my first pick for my June TBR. It is time for our second pick. A book that is part of a duology. Okay, so currently the only books that I own physically that are part of a duology are first To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. I got this used copy at my local bookstore, and the premise of it just sounded really interesting. This is the first book in the Mistland series. I believe this is a dual POV. It's about our main character Jude, who's known as the Hand of Death, and his existence pretty much is to fulfill this role as the Hand of Death. And then he sees our other main character, who is Kiara, and he is just drawn to her. It is a fantasy. It mentions shadow beasts and different things like that. So it sounds really interesting, so that could be a possibility. The second option I have is the second book in the Six of Crows duology, Crooked Kingdom. I'm currently in the middle of reading Six of Crows, and I'm pretty sure that I will be done with it before June starts. So this could be a really good option. I've always been intrigued by this story and really pushed myself to finally get into the series, and I'm so glad that I did. You know what? I do have another series on here that's a duology that I totally forgot about. Let's see if I can find it. Found it. Last book that I have that's in a duology is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I've heard such good things about this, that it's just a cozy fantasy. I've loved Rebecca Ross's writing. She wrote Divine Rivals, and I absolutely loved that book. This one is about our main character Jack, who's going back to his home, which is an island where girls are mysteriously disappearing, and so he teams up with his old childhood nemesis to figure out what's happening to these girls. I've only heard good things, and I do have both of the books in this series as well. So that could be a really good one. I would say that it's probably between Crooked Kingdom and A River Endless. I am really, really committed to finishing this series soon because I don't want to put it off for too long, but this also sounds like really cozy, and I feel like the cover of it is giving more summer in Crooked Kingdom. What do I do? Even though this isn't smart, I think I'm just gonna start another series this month and go in with A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. Shorter, and I think I'm gonna need that this summer. Also, I've just been really, really intrigued by this series. So A River Enchanted is the second book on my June TBR. I need to start putting these books back so that it makes my life easier. Third book on the June TBR. Pick the book most likely to cause a reading slump. Face your fears. I don't think I needed this month. Okay, the book most likely to cause a reading slump. I could go two ways with this. I could go for a heartbreaking book. I could also go for a book that I feel like is gonna be so good that nothing will compare. I have a few options for this one. The first one I picked is a Kristen Hanna book because when I read Kristen Hanna, I feel like nothing else compares. I picked The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This book really intimidates me. Not only is it quite long, it's 564 pages, but I've heard so much about it and how it's just completely life-changing and basically one of the best books that you'll ever read. When it comes to that screams, this book is gonna destroy you and you're gonna be in a book slump after it. If you don't know what this is about, which probably most of you do, but this is a World War II historical fiction. This is a World War II historical fiction about two sisters, and I've just heard that it's absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know if it screams summer, and I don't know if I want my heart to be ripped out. I picked One Golden Summer, which is probably the most anticipated romance of the summer, and the reason why I picked this is because when I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, that sent me into a book slump. I've kind of been wary to read One Golden Summer. I don't know if it was because Every Summer After had a trope that makes me angry, even though I did really like that book. But in this one, we are getting Charlie's story, which Charlie was brother of the main love interest in Every Summer After. He deserves his happy ending. I'm just nervous. I'm kind of leaning towards this because I already have proof that this author has sent me into a reading slump. For that reason, I'm gonna pick One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I don't know if I'm ready for The Nightingale yet anyway, so that's the great thing about having a prompt is you get to pick. And I think I'm not ready for The Nightingale quite yet. For our fourth prompt, have your spouse pick a book. He's gonna pick something I don't wanna read, but let me go get him. Take a gander. Anything on this shelf that I haven't read yet, even the books in my hand. If you love me, it won't be super long, but so here and up.
You good little twirl. You've already read this one?
No, I haven't read that.
Okay, wait, aren't you already reading that?
I'm reading this series, yeah.
Okay,
is this the book you picked?
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
That's
are
the
you
next
on
book.
volume 4 though?
That's the next book in the
Well,
series.
look at that.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, babe. Okay, that was actually pretty quick and a little bit unexpected. He picked the next book in the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. This is volume 4. Absolutely loving this series and I'm really excited because I'm hosting a book club this next month where we're covering the first 2 books in the series, and so I feel like I should just keep going with it. I talk about these books all the time, so I don't want to bore you, but this is a Regency era book. They're all very short and they are the journals of a hilarious, very witty girl who's come of age and she is just living her life and she's just so funny. I just love her humor and being inside of her head. I'm super happy that the 4th pick for my June TBR is the Unselected Journals of M. Lyon. Okay, our pick number 5 is A Dark and Twisty Story. You know, I was actually hoping we would pick something like this because I've been in the mood for a thriller. So I'm really excited about this. Okay, A Dark and Twisty Story. This one for sure. Dark and Twisty. This is the fastest I've picked books for a prompt. So the first option is Our Beautiful Mess by B.K. Clark. I've actually been really excited to read this book, and I think the premise of this story is just so interesting. Claire, our main character, is described as having never known affection. She was never given affection by the parents who raised her or by her recently deceased husband, which is absolutely heartbreaking. She's learned to bottle up every single emotion or any one of her needs, just pushed it down deep, and the only place it comes out is in her writing. But it comes to a boiling point where she's not able to handle it anymore, so she leaves where she's living and she goes to this island. She ends up meeting our other main character named Danny, and he's still reeling from his wife's infidelity. He's barely holding himself together, and then he sees her and is just immediately intrigued by her, but this is the last thing that he needs right now. This is where it could get dark and twisty. As then the whispers start, a cold touch while Claire sleeps, a window opening without her. Claire is convinced it's in her head, stress, until a blood-written threat appears, driving her to Danny's doorstep. She shouldn't seek him out, it's not his mess to fix, but there's the way his eyes never waver from hers, those tender touches she craves, and there's her secret that could tear it all away. I feel like this could be perfect, and it's not too long, which I really appreciate. It is 372 pages. I also love when a cover feels like velvety. I don't know how to describe it, but this cover is so soft. The next one is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I've been hearing such good things about this book, and I've never read a Riley Sager book, so I'm really excited about it. I just got this at Barnes & Noble. They had it on one of those tables that's like BOGO, get one 50% off. So I got one Golden Summer, and I got this one. But on the back of it, at the top, it says A Gothic House of Horrors. I mean, what sounds more dark and twisty than that? On the back, it has the synopsis separated in lines of this creepy schoolyard chant about Lenora's family's murders. Essentially, everyone says that she unalived her sister and then later unalived her father and then her mother. And at the last it says, "It wasn't me," Lenora said, "but she's the only one not dead." I mean, that's freaking dark and twisty if I've ever heard anything. Both of these sound so good and I kind of want to read both of them. This one has more romance in it, which I love for summer. But I feel like as far as dark and twisty, if I had to pick which one fit it the best, this one I got chills just from reading the back. So our 5th pick for my June TBR is going to be The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I really want to read this one though. I finished my TBR early. I might be picking this one next. It's getting late, so let me see if I can speed this up a little bit. Pick number 6 is Pick an Enemies to Lovers book. Oof, I love a good enemies to lovers. Okay, after doing some digging, I was able to find 3 different enemies to lovers. 2 of them are fantasy and 1 is romance, so I'll start with the fantasy. First is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I do feel like I've been needing a push to read this, but I don't know if I want to read this right now. This is a fantasy book. It has a trial aspect. I've heard that the romance is so good, and I know that the last book in the series just came out, and I do keep hearing about this main male character, Kai Azer, that he is just amazing. So that is very intriguing. It says the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from this kingdom of Ilya and shunned from society. No one knows this better than Peyton Gray, an ordinary posing as a psychic to blend in with the elites. When she unsuspectingly saves one of Ilya's princes, Kai Azer, she's thrown into the purging trials, a brutal competition showcasing the elites' powers. If the trials and opponents within them don't kill her, then the prince she's fighting feelings for will, if she discovers what Peyton is completely ordinary. That actually does sound good. Now that I'm reading that, I'm like, The next one is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eru. I'm saying that wrong and I feel terrible about it. A runaway TikTok sensation, Heavenly Bodies is the first book in a dazzling new romance series that blends Greek mythology and shadow magic with a tantalizing enemies to lovers romance that will rewrite the stars. You know the most dangerous kind of villain? A woman with nothing left to lose. It does sound very interesting. Do I want to start a new series? I'm not sure. The contemporary romance pick that I have is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. I actually thrifted this book and it is in perfect condition, but it's about a girl who is going to Spain for a wedding and she finds herself without a wedding date at a wedding that her ex is going to be at. So when she finds herself needing a date, one of her colleagues steps in who she can't stand. She describes him as condescending. He tells her that he will go with her as her wedding date. That could be really interesting. I've mentioned this before, but I love the movie The Wedding Date, and so that kind of gives me those kind of vibes. This book is also quite long though. It is 437 pages. Heavenly Bodies is 476 pages. And Powerless is 502 pages. So that just seems like a lot. I'm kind of wishing that I had some shorter books that fell into this category. But let me look at our TBR. We've got quite a bit of romance. Possibility. So I could leave this for another one. I'm actually kind of surprised that I'm leaning towards Powerless because I literally went into this video thinking I do not want to pick this book. But I read the back and now I'm intrigued all over again. So I think I'm just gonna pick it. For my sixth pick, I'm going to pick Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I really hope that I don't regret this choice. I have two more picks and now I'm starting to get scared because I've got some chonkers on here. Pick number 7 is a book with a color in the title. I don't know if I have one of those. Okay, I don't really have a book that just straight up says blue, yellow, pink, purple, or even black. Like, I'm surprised I don't have something that says black in it. I have two books that kind of fit this prompt. First, I have True Colors by Kristen Hanna. It doesn't necessarily have a color in the title, but it does have the word colors in the title. This is a book about 3 sisters who grew up really, really close because their father wasn't very warm towards them, and so that really just made them grow stronger. They're 3 very different people, and some type of crime happens in this book, and the accused is one of the 3 sisters' husbands, and so it just is kind of testing the bonds of sisterhood, pitting them against each other, teaches them a little bit about prejudice too, so this is an option. The other one that I picked, go with me on this one, I picked The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie because I do feel like lemon is a color. I mean, we've heard lemon yellow before, right? This is about a girl who's had a bit of a hard life. On her 33rd birthday, her great aunt gives her 3 lemon drops, and each one of these lemon drops gives her the opportunity to live a single day in a life that might have been hers. So it just makes you think about, like, if I had made this other choice, would I be happier? I feel like they're both equally kind of a stretch. I feel like I'm on Jeopardy and I'm gonna phone a friend. I'm gonna call my sister. If you had to pick a book, the TBR jar prompt is pick a book with a color in the title. I don't have any of those, but I have a book that's called True Colors, and I have a book that's called The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie. I was like, well, lemon's kind of a color. Which one?
Lemon yellow, yeah.
So you pick that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God, because that is the shorter of the 2. Okay, that's all I needed.
Okay.
Thanks, love you, bye. Okay, you heard it here first, guys. We're going with Lemon Yellow, and we're gonna pick The Magic of Lemon Drop Pie as our 7th book for my June TBR. Okay, let me just say the nerves are real for this last book pick. Pick a book where someone definitely dies. Bonus is fits the main character. Amazing, just what I wanted for summer. Actually a hilarious prompt though. I actually had quite a few books that really went in this category. At the end of the day, the one that was kind of a no-brainer is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Let me just read you the back so that you know why I had to pick it. The rules of Blackheath. Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. There are 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhabit. We will only let you escape once you tell us the name of the killer. Understood? Then let's begin. Every day, Evelyn Hardcastle will die. Every day until Aiden Bishop can identify her killer and break the cycle. But every time the day begins, Aiden wakes up in the body of a different guest, and some of his hosts are more helpful than others. I feel like after reading the back of this, there's really no other choice that I could pick. So the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is going to be our final pick for my June TBR. Here are my picks for my June TBR. First, we have Strawberry Patch Pancake House, A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, Volume 4 of the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, The Only One Left by Riley Sager, Powerless by Lauren Roberts, Magic of Lemon Drop Pie by Rachel Linden, and The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I'm actually so excited for this TBR. I feel like we have a good range. I feel like it's very well-rounded. We have thrillers, romance, fantasy, historical fiction, and women's fiction. That's like all over the board, but that makes me so excited to read. I feel like this is a TBR that won't bore me, and I don't feel like there's any one book that I'm not wanting to read. I was worried for a second about Powerless, but all I had to do was read the back, I guess, and then I got re-interested in it. Maybe I'll do a bit of a reading vlog on this one so you guys can see my reactions. Or if there's any books that you'd like me to do a reading vlog on as I do this, maybe both thrillers or something like that, let me know in the comments below. I am so excited for another month of reading, and thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!